Alright guys, today's video is going to help you senior golfers. If you're 50 years and older, you're struggling most likely with speed. You're noticing your speed has just dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. It's not as hard as you think creating speed in the golf swing. You've got to essentially use your fast twitch muscle fibers, which no one's talking about much of this these days, unfortunately. It's all about trying to subscribe to one method of coaching, which is basically what tour players do. How's that working for you guys? Trying to turn your body through the ball like Xander Schauffele. It's not good, right? You don't have the mobility, you don't have the core strength to be able to sustain that. In fact, a lot of people are getting injured. They're using more effort than they ever have, and they're hitting it even shorter. So it's not that we don't use the body. It's not that these coaches don't know what they're talking about. They're extremely good. The majority of them are working with elite players. If you watch their videos, they're working with ballers. They're working with guys that can hit the ball 290, 300 yards. Maybe they struggle with a hook, for example, and all you hear is you got to stabilize the face, stabilize the face, stabilize the face. Well, how many of you guys missed to the right and hit it pretty short? Do you think you really need to stabilize a face that's wide open? I don't think so. What we need to do, guys, is we need to learn to actuate the wrists. We need to learn to swing the arms. We need to learn to sling the golf club. Sling the golf club with the support of the body. The body plays a role. There's no question my interaction with the ground is extremely important. You put me in a chair and you lift my feet off the ground, and my feet aren't touching the ground, and I swing my wrists and arms, I'm going to hit it absolutely nowhere. So obviously the body, guys, it plays a role, but I just don't believe it should be your #1 priority. Most golfers haven't learned how to release the golf club. They have very, very slow arm speed. They don't know how to rotate the golf club. They don't know how to rehinge the golf club. So I've got 3 drills that we're going to work on today that I think, if you're struggling for distance, if you're struggling to hit a draw, for example, or so many of you slice, are going to make a world of difference. So before we get started, if you've not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and press that subscribe button. There's a bell button next door. Click on that. That's important, guys. That's going to give you a notification every time I release a new video. So the 3 drills, we're going to talk about them. The first drill is called the Hitch Hiker drill. Basically, we're thumbing a lift, guys. A lot of people call it the L to L drill. That's a really, really good one. The second one is called a closer drill, and the third one is called the 5th parallel drill. And the 5th parallel drill, you're going to want to hang in there to watch that one. That's going to make a world of difference. But what we want to do is practice effectively. So take 3 groups of 10 golf balls and hit 10 golf balls with each drill. Maybe the last 10 you pick targets, right? You forget about all the stuff, pick targets, work on your rhythm, work on your balance. But you need to learn how to train effectively, guys. You don't just stand there and just going through the motion. So let's just start with the Hitch Hiker drill. First thing we want to do is understand the grip's incredibly important. Most people I see have the grip placed too much in the palm of the hand, and it makes it very difficult to leverage and spin or rotate the golf club. The toe of the club, guys, needs to be turning down as it approaches the golf ball. The golf club needs to be rotating. Very, very important that we get that club rotated, and your ability to rotate the golf club is very much dependent on the position of, in particular, your lead hand, your left hand as a right-handed golfer on the golf club. What I see that gets most people into trouble is the grip routine. If you grip the golf club in front of you, which is perfectly natural, it's going to want to seat itself in the palm of the hand. So get into the habit, guys, of gripping the club to the side of you. You're going to see this if you watch a tour player talking to a caddy. They're about to hit a golf shot. They're talking about the shot. You can see here I'm allowing the golf club to just fall into the base of the fingers. You may also see tour players lifting the club in the air. All right, that's another great way to get the club a little bit more across the base of the fingers. So remember, grip it in the fingers. We can leverage the club. We can twist the club. We're off to the races if we do that. The trail hand's just as important, guys. We want to get the trail hand in an equal and opposite position, with the V on the trail hand pointing in the same direction as the V on the lead hand towards this trail shoulder. Get those V's in a good position, guys. All of a sudden here, I can start to use my wrists. I can start to get that club head moving faster. Hitch Hiker drill. Feet pretty close together. Objective here is to simply hinge my wrists and create an L between my lead arm and the shaft at lead arm parallel. Butt end of the club's going to point at or slightly inside the golf ball. Conversely, when we exit, and this is the big challenge, what we've got to do, guys, is send our speed home. We want to make sure that when we swing through, we've got a full hinge on the opposite side of the body. butt end of the club pointing back at the golf ball, left elbow down. So we are creating an L to a reverse L, or we're hitching a lift, however you look at it, okay? So this is my hitch hiker drill. We go back and then we move through. Now what I'm doing here, guys, I'm not spinning my body. I'm not trying to drive my hips. I'm not trying to drive my shoulders. What I'm doing is simply allowing my arms to swing to the right side of my body, allowing my arms to swing to the left side of my body, and allowing the golf club to hinge, unhinge, and rehinge, focusing on the wrists and arms. And moving from this position to this position requires the body to move. If I take my right hand and I hinge it to the side of me and I face the camera, I can't get my lead hand on the golf club. I'm going to have to pivot in order to get both hands on the club. How about that? I wasn't thinking about turning. What I was focused on is where my arms and wrists were in my backswing. Conversely, when I release the golf club and rehinge on the opposite side of my body, I can't possibly get my left arm extended here with my club pointing up without turning my body in order to get my trail hand on the golf club. Exactly the same thing, guys. Look, it's impossible. If I stay facing you, hanging back on my trail side, I can't get my hand on the golf club. So it's important to understand, I'm a huge believer the body can respond very dynamically, very, very naturally to the swinging motion of the wrist and the arms. It doesn't mean the body doesn't have a role. It's a transport mechanism, guys. It also helps you interact with the ground. We don't want to have our lead leg look like a spaghetti noodle as we make contact. Nice stable lead leg is going to help you throw that club out even faster. Let's go ahead and hit a couple of hitch hiker drills. We're going to go up, down, and back up, back swing, through swing. All right, go ahead and do that a few times. Again, I would hit 10 shots. Good grip, checking on that, making sure my lead arm and shaft form an L to the side of me. We're going to go ahead and swing it through and do exactly the same thing. So I'm allowing my golf club, guys, my club head, to swing a lot more freely. I'm sending my arms home, over there, okay? I'm not spinning my body and pulling my arms towards me. We don't have any T-Rex arms. You guys know exactly who you are when you film yourself and your arms are closer to you through the ball than they were at address. Notice this beautiful width between my grip and my body. As I hinge the club back, I've got some width. As I swing through, I've got some width. Can't think of a more awesome drill. Hitch hiker, one more time. Hinge, unhinge, rehinge. Beautiful. So what are we going to do here? How do we sort of integrate this and start to allow the body to respond a little bit more? And what happens when we try and integrate that hitch hiker drill into a regular golf swing? I can tell you what I see is everything just dissipates. Everything just goes down the tubes, okay? People get over the golf ball, they work on this sort of hinging motion, immediately start spinning, they leave the club head behind, and then they're forced to throw the club out. We've got this look about a foot, maybe 18 inches behind the golf ball. I know you've seen this, guys, when you slow your swings down, where we're back here and the lead arm is kind of behind us too much and the golf club is released too early, and then from there all hell breaks loose because the club, of course, is swinging back towards us. So when we start to get the body involved, unfortunately the body tends to enter the spin phase way too early. We tend to be in too much of a hurry to turn our body back to the golf ball. So what I recommend for the second drill is the closer drill I mentioned earlier. So what we've got to do is we've got to kind of blend this hinging, unhinging, rehinging motion by turning the lower body to the right. So what I want you to do is flare your toe out. That's a great thing to do. We can flare this trail toe out, and then we can align our feet, knees, and hips more to the right. What it's going to allow, guys, it's going to allow this right hip to work around the corner more. It's going to get that pelvis back out of the way. We've got to do that, guys, because that's going to allow us to create some depth at the top of the backswing. If we create some depth, our arms are going to be able to travel further. Our arms are going to be able to work down a lot more from the inside out, as opposed to most of you that, of course, don't have any depth. You spin the body. Your path is more outside in. You're using a lot of effort with your body. You're not throwing the club. You're not allowing the golf club to release. You're creating no distance whatsoever on your shots, and you're wearing yourselves out. I'm sure that sounds familiar. So let's go ahead and drop this right foot behind us. I'm not going to get my shoulders terribly close, but I want to flare this toe out towards the camera a little bit. I'm going to go and really start to feel like my right hip is working way more behind me, my right shoulder's working up and back, all right? And my hands, ideally here, we want to get somewhere above our heel line. A little bit of a window above the right shoulder is ideal. So this is going to really help. And yes, you can play golf this way, okay? Don't worry about what your buddies are saying when you're hitting high draws out there 15 to 20 yards further. There we go, and I just added probably another 30 yards on that one. One more time. Closer drill, closing off my body. There we go. So let's watch that one come down, boom. All right, so that's about 160 right there, okay? And that's just a little chip drill with a 7-iron, about 160 yards I hit that. So why was that pretty darn solid? Because I know my swing, I know that you guys kind of know your swings, and you know some of the issues you have. I tend to rush my spin phase. So in other words, I tend to get my body turning back to the golf ball too soon. That throws the club a little over the top, so I tend to get a little bit steep, okay? It also slows down my arms in many respects. I tend to sort of leave my arms behind me. When my arms stay too far behind me, when they're not dropping, when they're not de-elevating, they're not moving forward. Think about that for a minute. If my arms aren't de-elevating, they're not moving forward. That's what happens, guys. When you allow your arms to drop a little bit like an elevator in a building, they essentially come off the chest. So when I pivot, can you see how much further forward my arms are? For you guys that struggle with low point control, hitting fat and thin shots, I cannot stress the importance of keeping your upper body back and your trail hip back as your arms work down. So I've really got this feeling my arms are working down faster than my body is spinning. Most of you are spinning a lot faster than your arms are working down. It's a swing sequence is all it is. So when I'm hitting this golf shot, guys, I'm starting to work my way into a little bit more of a full swing. I'm still rehinging the golf club. All I'm doing is swinging through to my hitch hiker position, but I'm doing it with a closed stance, which slows down my spin phase, allows my arms to work down in front of me, and I definitely am starting to feel like my arms are moving faster. You heard it here, faster arms. Now this is the last one. We kind of put all the pieces together. First one, obviously, we're working on wrist, hinge, unhinge, rehin. That's your hitch hiker. Second one, we started to integrate your backswing, your pivot, making sure we've got more depth, okay? Keeping that depth as you start down. Faster arms, down, 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 guys, no more spinning. The third drill kind of puts all the pieces together. That's what I like to call the fifth parallel drill. The fifth parallel drill, guys, 5 parallels on the golf swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your fifth parallel. Now, a lot of you aren't going to get to the second one all the way back here. I totally get it. It's not essential that you get the club parallel at the top of your backswing. Just important to understand that in good golf swings, there's a degree of symmetry. I'm going to turn around and just kind of show you this, because when I hit the ball really well, when I get to the top of my backswing, I create a box here at the top of the backswing between my bicep, my forearm, and the shaft. That's a really good position, right? I've got my right arm in a good position where I can start to de-elevate. I can start to get that club slinging. Most of you are in here very, very narrow, very, very pinched. So we don't want to create a triangle, we want to create a box, okay? But here's the thing, look at the opposite side of my body. That's my fifth parallel. So now I've got the same box on the opposite side when my club's at parallel between my bicep, my forearm, and the shaft. What we want to do, guys, is we want to swing that golf club to the fifth parallel. Let the golf ball get in the way. If you start doing that, you're going to eliminate this look here that I see all the time. You've got the golf club pointing at the sky. You've got your trail elbow pointing up, and you never ever get the golf club slinging to the fifth parallel. Think about how much more speed your club head's going to have if you can get that golf club all the way to the fifth parallel. Whether you're hitting a driver, whether you're hitting a wedge, yes, whether you're hitting a 7-iron, it doesn't matter which club. So let's go ahead here. Now we're starting to put all the pieces together. I'm going to keep a little bit of the closer in here because I want to hit a draw. All right, I would suggest everyone who's struggling with speed has a slightly closed stance with their feet. I would also suggest everyone turns their trail toe out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to be a little less closed. All right, but guess what, guys? I'm going to swing to the 5th parallel. Let's go ahead and do that. Little draw swing here. Really happy with that. Let's do one more. 5th parallel, one more time. You see that? So I'm moving my club head a lot faster. Think about it for a second. If I move the club head at the same speed as my body on the way through, how am I moving the club head faster than somebody who's getting the club head swinging all the way over their left shoulder in the same space of time? Doesn't make any sense, right? So really work hard on those 3 drills, guys. Just do 10, 10, and 10. Okay, start with the hitch hiker, move to the closer drill, and then of course the final one is the 5th parallel. I will guarantee you, if you're struggling with speed, if you're struggling to hit a draw, for example, wow, are you going to be hitting draws if you do this? It's going to make a world of difference. And most importantly, you're not throwing the kitchen sink at the golf ball. You're not trying to get open, all right, like tour players are, all right? You're not trying to stabilize your club face. It makes absolutely no sense to me if you're watching videos that are talking about stabilizing the club face, all right? If you're an elite golfer, go for it. If you have the mobility to do the stuff tour players do, hey, good on you, go for it. But for those of us that don't have that kind of mobility, just wanted to let you know there is a better way. If you think this can help, go ahead and share. Thank you so much for your comments. I always get back to people. Let me know how you're getting on with your golf swings, if you think this is going to help, and go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate the support. It's been a heck of a lot of fun. We'll talk to you next time.